tell the chat who you are, why you're here, why they should care about what the fuck you say, and where they can find you on socials.
Okay. Well, first of all, I've been playing Overwatch since like release day. Started playing main tank in season 2. Started climbing a ton with it. Started off just off necessity to fill. I've been top 500 since season 1. Uh, when I started playing main tank and starting to get noticed a little bit because I try to maintain like a very positive attitude in comp. Try to communicate a lot. Um, Season 4, I peaked at rank 15, somewhere in 4600. Got noticed by Cool Matt actually, and then started playing with Fnatic, and that's how I started getting into like more high tier competitive play. And then from then on, I've just been kind of bouncing around from team to team. Played with Envision, played with Blank, the Australian team. Been tried out for a couple Owl teams and whatnot, but nothing nothing signed yet.
Are you currently on a team or are you LFT?
I'm LFT, yeah.
Well, hopefully this provides a good advertisement for you.
Yeah,
so if you were to kind of like give your qualification in like 5 words or so, just a super awesome Canadian main tank, World Cup main tank hopeful.
Yeah. If XQC gets banned, basically, that's the only way I'll be able to get it.
Canadian main tank. We'll just call you like top 20 main tank. Perfect. Okay, let's get that up here. Okay, so first of all, just everyone likes to talk about XQC. Before we get into the VOD, as a very highly skilled tank player yourself, what is your opinion on XQC's tank playstyle? Is he, the argument always comes up in this chat, especially when we're reviewing Dallas Fuel. XQC, best main tank player in Overwatch League? Top 10 player or top 5 main tank player in Overwatch League? Scrub? What do you think about XQC's playstyle? Did we lose him? Hello, Shane?
Oh, sorry. My mic is muted because I was coughing. My bad.
He didn't like the question. He ran away, chat. He ran away. You heard the question, though?
Yeah, I heard it. Sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, it's so hard to make a judgment on XQC. Me and XQC, I would consider XQC like a good friend of mine, just because we like got to know each other quite a bit during like Owl tryouts and whatnot, and he like offered a lot of advice to me.
Yep.
But so I really do love XQC. He's an amazing entertainer, but it's so hard to make like any judgment on his play, since last time I saw him play with a team where he's scrimmed like a lot with was Arc 6, right? Like Dallas Fuel.
Yeah, Arc 6 was an awesome team. Holy smokes, I loved Arc 6.
Yeah, Arc 6 was insane. Like Space, Custa, XQC, that right there is just like an insane dive core. Based on Space on Diva, it's disgusting. Anyways, yeah, it's like, so XQC, like he shows like he shines a couple times in his stream like mechanically, but I think a lot of the time he's so distracted with chat and just memeing and stuff like that that he doesn't pop all the time.
Yeah,
he doesn't show.
I talk about that a lot on stream. How one person I'm really impressed with was Emong. How he can interact with chat seemingly every second of his stream and still maintain top 500 and upper top 500. And I never realized how bad or how poor, like how bad of an impact streaming does have on your actual play. Like when I stream, I of course interact with chat instead of shot calling, and holy smokes, I'm lucky to be anywhere close to a low GM skill level when I'm distracted by chat, let alone at my peak. In the same way that when I'm interacting with chat, I miss seemingly simple things just during analysis videos. So I can definitely sympathize with that one. Now, what would you say is the main difference between your tank playstyle and XQC's tank playstyle, or alternatively, what is your kind of signature playstyle on tank?
Well, actually, I think XQC and I have like very comparable playstyles as far as like aggression, at least late, like beforehand, like months ago. I've been lately trying to like tune it, like reel my play in a little bit and be a bit more clean. with my gameplay. As far as like I've been just concentrating on maintaining like really good stats. I've been comparing myself with like Fisher and whatnot, right? So I've been looking like a clear stat for a good Winston player is like deaths and damage per 10.
Okay.
And
Yep.
so
And
so
for
like
the chat, because we're an educational stream, right? Why
mhm.
are those the two stats that you pick out? Damage per 10 and deaths, and not
well
eliminations.
well obviously like a Winston isn't always getting as many elims as like a diva or a DPS would, but I think those two stats are the most standout because it shows how much pressure you're applying while also like how much you're feeding, so like, but really like it comes down to that. Like if you look at like right now, lately I was looking at Super since he's just starting in the Overwatch League. He pulls
Absolutely.
disgusting stats.
Yeah,
He has
super
like
stats are crazy.
he has like 5 deaths per 10 and 7k damage. Like for reference, my stats, I have like 6.2 deaths and 6.8 damage. So 6.8k and 6.2 deaths per 10.
Wow.
And he's pulling like probably 5.5 somewhere in that area. I can't remember exactly how many deaths, but then 7k damage. Crazy. And then if you compare like if you look at like Gamsu and Fisher, I can't remember their stats exactly, but they always like a lot of Korean main tanks, they range between like 5 and 6 deaths per 10, and then somewhere between 6.8 and 7.2k damage. Somewhere
So,
in that,
so
that
you really
seems to be,
do
like,
take a much more quantitative approach to success rather than qualitative play styles or situationals or like when to use abilities. You're very quantitative in your, how well am I doing?
yeah, especially as of late when I was playing with Kungarna, my old teammate Hakume, the flex support, he was really big on that, like stat checking people, and because it's a really clear way, it's super quick and easy to see who's being effective and what role and whatnot. It's a really good way to like reel in your playstyle. If you want to get better at a certain role or a certain hero, look at the top player who's playing whatever hero, right?
Mhm.
Like I was looking at somebody who tried out for Kungarna or
Yep.
played with Kungarna for a bit. His name's Kaluj. He's top 10 right now on Diva, and he pulls like 4.5 to 5 deaths per 10 and 10k damage on Diva, and that's up there with like Overwatch League. Or actually, no, sorry. Here's an example that more people get. Like people underrate Note so much on Boston.
Oh
so
yeah,
much.
no,
It's crazy.
he's Canadian as well, right?
Yep. He's
You'd want
from
him
Toronto,
as
I believe.
your counterpart on the World Cup team for Canada?
Note is insane. Yeah, I would love to play with Note. He's like easily one of the best divas in the world. Easily.
So
His stats are nuts.
Next question for you. When is the last time you played in Platinum?
Never. I mean,
where did you play season 1?
I placed 65 in season, then ended like 78. No, 77. I peaked at 79, ended 77.
Oh, so do you consider it talent, or did you have like previous game experience?
I played League of Legends before this, so it's not like I was like an FPS god.
65 initial placements, probably one of the highest I've heard of. Maybe you are one of those talented people I keep hearing about. Okay, can I read the description of the video? Okay, so this interviewer wants me to read the description of the video before we get started. And it says, the beginning is a bit of a staggerfest until timestamp 3:45. I would suggest you skipping to then. Okay, so we'll take an initial look at the analysis and then skip to 3:45. So
sounds good.
I'm going to draw, you're going to talk, okay?
Okay.
Tell me what you think of this team composition.
I mean, Ana Zen kind of already sucks. I hate double flex with a passion. I hate everything. Like if you're trying to dive, you need Zen. Lucio is really important for getting through this choke. If they're running Orisa, Ana's garbage because like she can't get a nade off, or she can't easily get a nade off to support her team. All her heals will get denied. So like if it was a Lucio to speed boost to get them through the choke really quickly, then it would be really good. Or alternatively, since they're running Widowmaker, they probably want to take the fight to point, so that they could so that their Widow can have good LOS. But again, they're running Ana Zen, so these guys can't like move quickly. They can't get to point quickly. So it's like double flex support is super annoying to play around. That's like my main peeve with comp is a lot of people.
Are there situations where you would like or Ana Zen, like Hanamura or Gibraltar? Do you like Ana Zen on those maps, or do you still not like Ana Zen very much?
The only like point I like on a Zen is on like when you're trying for a full hold and you're playing defense. That's the only point I find it effective is because like then an Ana can start high ground and play really far back from her team and be effective, right?
Okay.
But like as far as an attack, she's not that great.
I agree. Okay, what about the Genji in this composition?
Genji's good because if these guys are going for, I imagine they're probably going to go for a hard dive. Genji's good just to get the resets off.
Okay, and of course, standard dive tanks past that. So with the Ana Zenyatta and whatnot here, as well as the Widowmaker, how would that change our main tank player's playstyle? What would you recommend that this player do specifically on Winston?
Well, since it's really rough because since they don't have Lucio, it's hard to go straight to point. Since they don't have, sorry, that's my phone. Since they have Widow, they want to go straight to point.
Mm-hmm.
They can't go right side and take the high ground because again they'll be out of their Widow's LOS, so they'll just be basically throwing because their Widow will be ineffective the entire time, or for the most part. If the enemy team plays it smart.
If they had like an Orisa Roadhog holding box, so box being that kind of high ground that's directly through the main choke, would you as Winston and Winston, Diva, Genji try and hop the box and play in the Ana sightline, try and just dive directly onto them? Would that be something you'd recommend?
I would try to personally. I would soft dive. So I jump
different
up.
Define soft dive for the chat.
A soft dive is jumping up and applying as much pressure as you can, and then but backing out at the same time so that you don't overcommit. You're not trying to get kills. You're trying to pressure them into like changing focus onto tanks. So a lot of these, when you're walking through a choke, a lot of teams are going to try to go for your supports and whatnot. So you want to be an immediate problem, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you jump in. What I would do is I would jump in, pressure a little bit, bubble, get some cooldowns out of them. See if we can maybe get somebody low and set up.
Yeah.
And then and see where you can go from there. But like the main goal is to not dedicate to the point where you're feeding, right? You don't want to die during this dive. You don't want to overcommit.
Cool. Right? Any last words before we were going to skip ahead, but I think with the comp explained the way that you are, let's see how they do with it. Any last thoughts before I unpause and we kind of see the fight happen?
Nope, nothing comes to mind. I think
cool.
I got my.
I'll skip ahead to the point where the doors actually open. Okay, 10 seconds left. Let's see what happens.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Attack commencing. Capture objective A.
There's somebody on
so it is Platinum, so they're probably running a spam-heavy composition with Orisa here. It's just a very classic Platinum comp, especially on Anubis.
Where's the Widow at?
So immediately.
Any kind of thoughts on immediate actions? Of course, the Genji got killed right away, but what would you do at this point in time?
Well, like right now, it's like, okay, so my Genji just got picked, my Diva just got demeched. I'd say Diva go back and switch or go in and die right away. I don't know what that Diva was doing, flying up the high ground for no reason.
You really haven't spent a lot of time in Plat, have you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I figured it's just it's classic, like, low tier game sense, but
wow, you're not going to be a chat favorite calling Plat low tier.
Okay.
You realize Plat's above average, right? You know the average player is 2350, right?
I don't care. I think low GM is low tier. I think 4K players are low tier. I get like
this
a 4K
is true.
player in my game, and I'm mad.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't disagree with you. I get angry at Masters players. I think Masters players are fucking dumb. So I'm not disagreeing with you, but we do have to, living at the high end of the bell curve, we have to realize what games are actually like. And I can kind of sympathize. People tell me that I don't know what it's like in Plat. So, to hear some of these statements, kind of interesting. I think it'd be interesting. I would definitely watch a stream of you playing Winston in Gold or Plat. I would really thoroughly enjoy that. I would really
I'd get banned for that.
You'd get banned for that? Nah.
You've seen all the streamers do the like gold to GM things. And they get banned.
Yeah, but they get banned for throwing, not for doing the rank up, right?
That's true.
So I've got 8 accounts personally, all in different elos and like for practicing and playing different characters. So no, Well, I don't know. Maybe if you do get banned for that, I just fucking outed myself, ripped my accounts. But oh well.
Oh well, yeah.
Okay,
happens.
let's see how it goes.
Yeah.
We've already touched 1,000. It's fine, chat. It's also
Awesome.
really late for Europeans, so they're all in bed.
She's too far for you to jump.
This is just an unfortunate stagger. So, like, right here, this is one of the the points where Platinums will normally get impatient and try to force something, but the best bet is still to wait. Just because clock's ticking doesn't justify fighting 5v6, or which you're technically still 6v4.
Yeah, you just want to like here. You just want to occasionally scout a little bit of info, maybe get your Zen to get a Discord. Yeah, see, like he's doing fine right now. Like that's
We're gonna go left
what more can you do, right?
Nothing.
Just deep is back.
Other than 1v6.
like right now, their Zen should be looking for a Discord
Alright.
just so they can
D.Va
set up
defense
their
mission,
dive
they're
and go
open, shield
instantly
down.
right when their Diva's back.
Yeah, because if a Zenyatta lands at Discord, you've got that nice window where you can actually select that as your dive target. So here's actually a different question that we'll, while we're kind of looking at this, what to you is, the most important factors when selecting a target to dive?
Well, easily mispositioning. So like, if I see a squishy target out of position, then I want to 100% punish that. That's a big thing about my play style is or my calling style is I put a lot of urgency.
Yes,
a lot of teams are super relaxed. Like that's a big thing. You see a lot of these teams in Overwatch League, whenever you get the hint of their, or whatever you get to see behind the scenes and hear their comms and stuff like that, and people are always like, oh man, they sound so hectic and crazy, but it's like these guys are capitalizing on split-second decisions and they need their team to follow up. So obviously they need to be like more hyped, right?
Mm-hmm.
They need to have that sense of urgency and get everybody going, right? So many people always mock teams whenever they have like what they think are discordant or uncoordinated comms, but it's really like heat of the moment. This has got to happen, right?
We talk about that a lot in Overwatch League, where whenever they play those like comm segments during the Overwatch League analysis, chat is like always like, those comms are awful. I couldn't even understand what's going on. But then we actually did this segment once where we slowed it down and I paused like every 4 times a second to talk about every little piece of information that was being squeezed out over comms. And it may sound chaotic if you've never experienced it before, but that's the only way you can actually convey the amount of information that is necessary to win a team fight. So yeah, great point. Okay, I know they feed for like a minute and a half more, so I'm probably just going to let it play. If you see anything, just talk, but we got about 90 seconds, I suppose, until the reviewer said that they actually get their shit in a pile.
Okay.
Here's your one. No recall. Let's go.
Okay, so I see they're going left here. See, this is bad because now they're just taking a tank war. They're setting themselves up for bad LOS. Seeing their Widow died too. I guess he's trying to flank and get on their Widow, but ideally here, since they're running Widow as well, you can just dive and get pretty much unpunished because their Widow's just going to kite you, right? So you can't dive the Widow as effectively as one would like, right? So the next best thing that you can try for, since they don't have, or consider it this way, right? Like your Widow is going to be 1v1ing their Widow pretty much the entire time, right? If their Widow is concentrated on you, then your Widow is free to shoot. So if you were to just go aggro onto their tanks and take all the focus fire, then you're doing your job, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you just want to maximize your HP, play aggro for as long as you can without obviously dying.
Widowmaker dies again.
Your Widow's just straight feeding. Right here, you should just be hiding instead of walking up, using bubble for no reason. I guess you're trying to slowly take room, but yeah, you can't slowly take room against this team comp.
If this was coordinated, would you ever drop your bubble to kind of bring your team in with you in cover, or would you kind of prefer to do that with like a defense matrix or something? Do you ever like bubble to escort people into corridors and around corners and things like that? Like Horizon Lunar Colony, if you're going right and you're playing dive, would you drop your bubble just to get your team around that corner?
Yeah, with against this team comp, right? They're running hog, so you need a barrier to block the bubble, to block the hook, right? Otherwise, you're just gonna keep getting hooked. It's really situational, right? Like most of the time you can. Oh,
most of the time, I'm just.
Sorry, my PC went to sleep.
Oh.
I was like, is my power go out?
You can try to stick with me.
But yeah, no, it's you. in my like experience, right? It's always been like, oh crap, an Orisa's pulling. Okay, they're definitely gonna hook after this. I'll drop my bubble, right?
Yep, absolutely.
But yeah, you can't always rely on the defense matrix to
Cool.
escort the team through.
Now here, I'm going to pause right after he receives Nano and jumps in, or I don't remember. Does he jump in or Nano?
Get the
Or-
warwick down.
Anyway,
Yeah,
he gets a Nano
I think he
here.
jumps in, gets a Nano, then gets whole hogged out.
Yeah. Any thoughts
Just
about
get up there
doing
and
this
harass him just to
differently?
get off the high ground. Ready?
Well,
Keep it on
they
them.
needed to
Three,
not use any ults because
one.
at that point they'd already fed so much that everybody you're using bubble way too early. By the way, your bubble's landing not on the platform. I think right here it
Yeah.
should be landing like on the ramp behind them.
This
or
is
the
something
little,
a lot of really low tier Winstons don't understand, but Winston has like this animation where he places his. Like, it looks like he's placing his shield generator down. But Shane, do you
Mhm.
want to tell Jet when the bubble actually drops after you've pressed E?
instantly. You just tap E
Literally
and it's
instantly.
down.
He goes
Yeah.
through an animation and he's holding a shield generator object in his hand, but that animation is happening after the shield generator's already been placed. You tap E, that shield exists in the exact place you were. The animation is a lie. Don't believe animation's lies, Chad.
Yeah, see the bubbles on the ground again. But yeah, here they shouldn't have used any ults. They should have just tried to get ults at them because everybody had already fed and they had such a huge ult advantage.
So here's a question. They should have done that without any ultimates. What's to stop the opponent from just killing them back without any ultimates? So what
Well,
can
then,
you do?
then they're taking an even fight, right? If
Yeah,
they're not
well,
using any ults, then
even fight maybe in terms of ultimates, but they have the compositional advantage, right? Because they have the Roadhog Orisa, you're running Winston. They are gonna kill you in a regular fight here. So what would actually force the defenders here, or what could you do to force the defenders to use ultimates?
well, then you soft dive, right? Like you take the fight for as long as you can. You need to get their ults out, right? So you either need to make the compositional changes, or you need to change your play style, or first of all, it's not really changing the play style, so you need to actually effectively get off what you need to do, right? So
Mhm.
like what they needed to do right from the get go with what they were running was just soft dive, and look for a picks at pressure with that and have your widow match their widow, but they were spending the entire time staggered. So like literally, I think they had 6 ults, probably the enemy team by then.
Mm-hmm. Probably close to it.
So at that point, you're at such an ult disadvantage. Using any ults will just mess you up even further,
Mhm.
and so you just need to like play methodically, right?
Yeah, and it's an important distinction to make, right? That you're not just diving without ults. You're diving or you're attacking in a way that you're trying to make the opponent use ultimates. It's at the higher level, especially in dive, when you know the opponent has transcendence, for example. You'll either blade to bait the transcendence or like hard dive the Zen to force the trance out early. But we're not expecting ult tracking in diamond or platinum, but eco pushes. The purpose of an eco push is not to feed them more ultimate charge. It's to force them to use ultimates so that the ult economy moves farther in your direction. I think it's an important distinction to make.
Yeah, you want to build momentum for the ultimate attack.
Absolutely. Do you think Primal here was a good decision?
No.
And why not?
He's surrounded by enemies. He's down. The fight is already lost essentially because they're down 1, I believe.
On Zen.
When would a better
Mercy
time
half, Mercy
to
half,
use
Mercy can die,
Primal
Mercy
be?
can die, Mercy 1!
Diving their widow. If you were to save your primal
Get on
for
point,
diving
get
their
on
widow,
point,
so
get on
you'd obviously like
Just win that.
at that point the enemy team has been mispositioned, right? So like their Orisa had dropped from high ground, their Hog had dropped from high ground, whatnot.
Now they
If
they are winning this fight. What do you think caused them to win this fight, despite kind of feeding on win Primal? Do you want to look at it again? Let's look at it again.
Yeah.
And
I'd like to see
I'll
what
play
happened.
with comms.
Go, go, go. 2, 1, go. Fuck.
Okay, so at that point, that's a lost fight right now. Like Anna's dead. You just wasted Nano Boost, and then your Zen trances. I don't know. Their hog goes aggressive. I don't know. The trance was unnecessary. I think at this point, you guys should have just. I mean, it's really hard to say because it's like Diamond Elo, right? Like the playstyles are so much different.
Yeah,
But,
so
like,
the fight
from-
was lost, and blue team commits 2 ultimates, right?
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Like in my opinion, the fight was lost because you
In
lost
mine as well.
your primary healer. Here, Shouldn't have gone aggro. Should have taken it slow, slowly taken room.
And when
Yeah,
you say
I'm-
slowly taking room, you mean just kind of like pressing W
Push-
with your
yeah,
team, just
exactly,
straight up
exactly.
walking up. Another
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
that a
like,
lot of
go
Winstons I
corner to
see
corner.
just kind of don't do is that they think they have to advance with shift when you can walk like a normal hero, just forward slowly.
Yeah, that's a huge thing for a lot of Winstons is they don't know how to take any room without taking poke or without losing HP. Like if you can effectively take room and be a nuisance for people without actually taking damage to the point where you're no longer a problem to them, or like okay, I'm gonna die if I peek again.
Mm-hmm.
Then you're playing Winston perfectly. Winston's all about area denial, right?
Yep.
Winston's all about being a problem in the back of somebody's head, right? So it's like you're making room, and they're like, oh crap, well I can't concentrate on this person or this person because this Winston is gonna start pressuring me if I turn around on this tracer, you know?
Yep.
That's the whole point, right? It's supposed to be overwhelming to deal with a dive. Whenever you like get dove by a really coordinated team, it's like, okay, what are we doing? Like people are just dying left and right, and we're just losing. It feels like we're not losing for any particular reason, but it's actually
it just feels helpless because everyone's just
exactly
dead.
exactly
Yeah.
exactly.
There was a question in the chat for you. Question for Shane: is first dive always a soft dive and transferred to a hard dive if things go in your favor in the start of the game?
It's very situational. I think a good hard dive can always happen first fight, but it depends on enemy positioning and the map. There's a lot of factors, right? So it's like the map, your team comp, their team comp, right? So there's a lot of factors that go into making that decision. So it's like, let's say you're playing against a counter dive, right? Or you're playing against a dive comp as well. The best way of handling that is just seeing how much room you can take and setting up a dive on their Zenyatta or whatever their backline.
And after you've capped a first point on 2CP and you're moving into second, what are your immediate actions? How do you approach the first fight on the second point of 2CP? Is there anything you should be checking for? Anything specific you should be doing with your team? What are the immediate actions moving from first to second point on 2CP?
Well, you should be making your decision based on what their team comp is and what ults they have, right?
Yep.
And what ults you have is a big thing. So my general rule of thumb is, okay, if they have a Zenyatta, I want to go up that right alley. The right alley, the right lane on the you know what I mean, the right side of the map, right?
Yes,
on this particular point. Yeah. Anyways, and just I want to if I had a Lucio, ideally this is how it works, right? I have a Lucio, I have a Genji, I have a Tracer, I have Diva, Winston. I just want to explode right side and just hard dive their Zen, force out, and if they have trance or whatnot, force it out, get it out right away, and just start setting up for, especially on this point of all things, it's like you should be looking to blow up their Zen no matter what, and like every single game it should just be like, okay, destroy their Zen, because if the Zen has trance, okay, great, we got it out. Let's reset, and we built alts.
And if not,
if not, then great, we killed their most valuable person, right? As far as for me as a Winston player, right? Like if I'm discorded, I can't do anything, or rather, I feel like I can't do it.
Now, for my own entertainment and chat's entertainment, what do you think is going to actually happen?
I think these guys are going to walk down main and take a ton of poke and see what happens, because it's like. And this elo, right, it feels like people kind of play on autopilot, right? They don't make the most educated decisions. Maybe, obviously that's coming from somebody who's sunk thousands upon thousands of hours into this game, and in scrims and comp and VOD review and everything. So I'm kind of like a snob. But yeah, like a lot of these people just seem to play without best decision making and without the best game sense. So I think what's going to happen here is he's going to jump in. He's just going to leap in and try to think, okay, I'm making room. But you shouldn't be thinking I'm making room. You should be thinking, okay, I'm setting up this person or whatever. You should have a win condition after every single.
I love you. Just come back and do every guest review with me ever.
I'd be happy to. Yeah, no, that's a huge thing that like a lot of people don't think about is just a simple win condition can set you up and win every single game. Okay, so when I was playing with Fnatic and or ex Fnatic, I guess at that point, right? Because they had been dropped by the org at that point. A big thing that I personally like just lived by was win condition every single fight. So it'd be like
I harp on win conditions.
It's super easy. It's super easy. Like I had it written down in a Google Doc, but I'm pretty sure I deleted it. You should just have like a checklist in between every single fight. It's like, okay, what else do they have? What else do we have? What can we do with what we have, right? So it's like, oh, I have Primal Rage. Oh, okay, they have Transcendence. I'll force Transcendence at the beginning of this fight. I'll go deep. Don't follow me. I'll force Trance, and then we can work from there, right? So like that's a very common play, especially or a very common play back in season 4 dive meta was right like the comp was not triple DPS, but it was Soldier Tracer, I believe, or Soldier Genji, one of those two.
Yep.
And like, you know, every single time it's like, oh, they have visor. Okay, I'm just gonna save my Primal for when he visors and then just hold him in a corner the entire time. And you know, just like
yep.
like,
you know, once you scrim
or
long enough, these win conditions become second nature to you. You don't even have to think about them, and you just get like this creeping feeling for what's gonna happen next. And you know, you don't even have to consciously keep track of ultimates anymore. It just becomes a thing that happens. Now, there is one other question that was farther back up. I forgot to ask it, so I am going to kind of go back. And it was when we were discussing just moving forward and taking space and whatnot. And the question is from Android Hell. And Android Hell asks, when you hold W into the enemy team, where do you stop? How do you avoid just playing frontline Winston?
Well, I think when it depends on where you're playing, obviously, like on the map. So a very good rule of thumb is, okay, if I'm standing out in the open and the only thing protecting me is my 600 HP bubble, then I'm doing a bad job at playing Winston, right? You want to have, and so like, or rather, you're not doing a bad job playing Winston, but you want to be able to take as much room as possible without using your jump or your bubble, for that matter. You want to be able to get right in their face, press E, start applying that pressure, and then use your jump to escape, or use your jump to go further.
I usually
finish kills.
The word that I use in that situation is pursue. The two words whenever I'm coaching a diva or a Winston, because divas can do this too. Divas don't have to go forward using boost; they can go forward just with the W key. You save your boost to either escape or pursue. Those are the two words that I try and hammer into people over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. You're a very verbose individual, so we're gonna watch point 2. I like it though. I like it. I think chat's learning a lot too.
Sweet.
Oh, I've got it muted. Sorry. There we go.
We're here. The Widow's on Soldier now. Keep it ready. 3, 2, 1, in we go.
Yeah, see, that's just like,
this
is classic, like a Diamond Tracer just feeding right there. Winston just jumping in to an ineffective spot, using his bubble.
God.
He's able to get out, but it just feels messy, right?
Yeah, he flanked right, and then he jumped main, right?
No!
So.
Yeah, and then he jumped main, and
right
just jumped into
the enemy dive tanks, right? So.
Yeah, and like they're counter dive tanks, like you're just gonna get punished.
My number.
You want to, realistically, he should have been like, okay, they had used Trance that fight, I believe. I can't remember, but it's like, okay, we have Blade, we have Nano, they have their Zen. You can pretty much guarantee. Obviously, you want like somebody to scout if they can scout where their team is. That's a big thing too. Is scouting information for Winston. You want to be able to know as much about where the enemy team is playing without actually like peeking and taking damage, right? Mm-hmm. So in a traditional pro team setting, it's usually the Tracer because she can pretty much walk around everywhere unpunished.
Yep.
Or totally safe, right? And she can feed information to her team. This was a good dive. Like, well, obviously it didn't work out right, but like the idea was there, right?
Yeah, diving past the tanks onto the Zenyatta in the corner, using the to block the right click, finishing him off.
You guys win that.
Yeah. But it didn't work out that well because they had Trance and whatnot. I don't think they would have had Trance if he had dove initially onto the Zen that first fight. So that's another thing with Winston. You got to be decisive, right? You got to be smart. Ooh, their diva just threw the game. She just flew into him while pulsed.
Oh no.
This is the sort of things that top 500s flame masters and grandmasters for.
Yeah, stand still while pulsed.
Yeah,
Jesus.
You do that in like a GM or Masters game, you're gonna get people yelling at you.
Yep. This is yeah. At that point, everybody's dead. Just get out. You know, there's no point. Ball to escape. Hit your forehead. Inefficient jumping. If you had jumped in a semi-straight line and then jumped as you hit the ground, you would have been able to just
it was really risky
fly,
to
like
stay up there.
right out of there.
I played it safe.
Now,
I
here we're gonna again. Let's talk about Primal usage. You have Primal here. Are you going to be using it more as a second life, or do you want to be using Primal to like commit a deeper dive onto a Zenyatta? If you were the Winston player in this game, how would you use Primal?
100% commit. 100%. Because you need to make these openings for your team. Here, okay. Well, yeah, that wasn't that great.
What should he have done instead with the Primal there?
Well, obviously the Mercy's out of the fight. A funny thing I like to do usually is if in a situation like that, it's obviously not always you can pull that off, but like a fun thing I like to do is just walk around a corner, walk back around the corner when I know somebody's gonna like probably try to walk back.
Yeah, so if you like punch the Mercy, you don't have to chase. You can kind of like walk away and then turn around as she tries to get back in the fight and punch her again.
Exactly. Like fake them out, bait them in. That's a common thing. But yeah, this is a pretty questionable like extended fight right now.
Well, welcome to Plat, I guess.
But a good combo. This is a combo every Winston player should know because Winston isn't a mechanically crazy hero, right?
Well, not until you actually pop Primal. Then
exactly. But even then, Winston's Primal can be broken down to simple timings. It's not about like crazy reflexes or anything. Obviously, it does help, but when it really comes in handy is there's a combo right now. There's a combo that was popularized by Korean main tanks. I can't remember who. I think it was Miro or can't remember his name. He was Lintikai's main tank and he got picked up by London. Is it Kiki?
Kooky?
Yeah, maybe. Anyways,
Kooky is a player. I'm not sure if he's a main tank or not. Chat. These are what. No. Anytime I forget something like this, I just ask chat.
He was
chat
for he was main tank for Runaway.
Oh, Cox, KOX.
Maybe was he picked up by London? TZ. Yeah, that's him.
See,
that's him.
I told you.
TZ.
Ask chat. Chat knows. Chat knows everything.
Thank you, chat.
Whenever you don't know, you just ask chat. Just ask the question into the void, and they will answer.
It yells back.
Chat yells back.
Exactly. But yeah, the combo is super crazy. Like it's clean. It's exactly what you want to be doing. You learn this combo, and then you will become a Winston master as far as Primal Raging is concerned, and that's really big. So the combo is. It's really hard to describe without like video reference. People probably won't get it.
Do you have a clip of it?
Sadly, I don't.
Okay.
But I will break it down over voice. Actually, I'll type it in chat too. So what you do is you jump. So you start. Let's say you see a Zen or a soldier or what have you, right? Like some squishy, 150 to 200 HP squishy. You jump. You leap at them. So the combo is leap.
Oh, I actually know what combo you're talking about. I think I do have a clip of it.
Oh, probably.
Just keep explaining it while I look for a clip.
Okay. So you leap while in midair zapping. You land. While landing, so you get the 30 HP land damage, and then you melee as you land. You pop Primal. Yeah, XQC explained it, but he explained it like a monkey.
Do a demonstration in game. I'm not good enough to do it in game. I don't know. I haven't practiced that combo before, and it's extremely difficult.
So it's leap, zapping, landing damage, melee, pop Primal, swing, wait like half a second, jump, swing again. So you'll hit them in midair, and then you'll land where they land, and then you hit them again, they're dead.
So the big thing is that at the end of one of Winston's punches, the knockback doesn't apply, but the damage still does. So his like hurt box is still there. So you punch him once at the very end of the last of one of your swings. So it goes punch, and then you get landing damage, and then you get a second punch as they're being knocked away from you. So that's why the timing's so hard, because it's jump, burst, normal burst combo. It's jump, landing damage, melee, ult, punch, wait, jump, punch early, back of the hand. That's the damage, but no knockback. Landing on them knocks them back, and you punch them before they go out of range. That's the combo.
Exactly. Yeah. It's pretty
fucking hard.
It's hard to get off cleanly because there's all sorts of factors. Maybe a Lucio boops you, or a Lucio speed boosts the person you're trying to get at, and they take more
hard,
knockback.
Chat. There's no way I'm going to try and demonstrate this in a custom game.
It needs perfect execution. There's a lot of factors that go into it, but if you get down like the basics of it, right? Like you start to learn how far somebody goes knocked back when you hit them. You can start to get these mechanics down. It's extremely good because I'm getting it down pretty effectively. I'll blow up a Zen like every game whenever I have it. If I'm playing against a Zen, I'm like, hey guys, watch me blow up the Zen. I say that every single time just to meme a bit, and it's pretty effective. Like it feels really good whenever you get it off because it's like, oh, I just blew somebody up as if I was Genji. And I'm playing a tank.
Also, subscribers have the ability to post links. So if a sub does find any examples or whatnot of it, just post it in chat. But we've burned enough time talking about that combo. Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a nano guy.
Just back up.
He's just staggering himself here. Rein is usually a pretty good
Fuck,
switch
dude.
if your team is not actually like playing around you all that well.
Hey, Hexagon, good to see you. Hammer down usage against dive.
Shatter.
Thoughts?
Rein is in such a terrible spot overall. Ooh, lucky kill on a feeding tracer. Okay, walk in. Like pretty much, you should just be looking for cheesy kills late in the fight, right? Okay, that was a pretty decent shatter. Sadly, we weren't able to get the supports. Like the thought was there, but the way I like to use shatter against a team that's playing dive is I like to take the fight and just be like a nuisance again for my team.
Yep.
Like be a big barrier, big wall for my team. And
these fire strikes, holy smokes.
Lucio one. Lucio one.
Getting some kills with that. It's good.
What's in half?
But like, these guys,
soldier.
they kind of just staggered in and fed. Like their tracer,
capping.
started the fight off dead. So your
Soldier
Widow
around
seems to be
right
popping
side.
off. But see, like if you had shatter while like, you just be a problem in the back of their mind. It's kind of like the same philosophy I have when I'm playing Winston. You always want to be a problem in the back of the team's mind. So, what am I getting at here? So it's like.
The amount of kills that he's getting on
shatter.
Rein while you're talking is just insane.
Yeah, he's just cleaning up. It's the classic.
And people wonder why I love Reinhardt. I could either do these like really complicated dives on Winston, or I could just swing like a fucking madman.
Yeah.
It's actually crazy how many kills you're getting.
Just cleaning up. I love playing Rein on 2CP like this because usually once you start getting going, it's like you make a shit ton of room for your team, and then you can just swing all you want, right?
Dude.
While your team just backs you up and heals you.
Awesome. I think he's gonna play Orisa on defense since he listed main tank. So let's see if we can't get some Orisa footage in here. I love it. I loved that Rein play.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, to finish with my thought, basically you just want to force them off of point because, like, especially on TCP, right? You force them off of point thinking, oh no, this Rein has shatter, or this Rein is taking up a lot of room.
It's in the same way that like a McCree who hasn't used Flash is still a threat to a Tracer, or a Roadhog who hasn't used Hook yet is still a threat to a Diva. In some ways, the act of having but not using is powerful, if not just as powerful as using the shatter itself. Because if you don't have it, they can play a lot, riskier and aggressive because they don't have to play around your shatter. But if you hold on to shatter, hold on to flash, and this, applies to a very large number of characters where just the threat of having an ability forces the opponent to play in a very specific way. That's a good point to bring up. Glad you did.
And if they don't, if they don't play in that specific way because they're dumb, then you can just use it and punish them, and get the kills and make the room.
Golden Goose is in chat, says he knows you. Says hi.
Oh yeah, hey dude, how you doing? Yeah, I haven't been streaming all that
Can you
much
stream,
lately.
please? I want to watch.
I am sick. I don't want to.
Fuck you. Do it anyway.
Also, playing comp a lot on East Coast, brutal at my elo. I get like 3,900 players.
What do you think about holding it in this location with Orisa? Oh, did he hit tab? I wasn't paying attention. Did he ever look at his composition with the tab menu?
Doesn't look like it.
We'll just have to do the last second before he walks out of spawn then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Soldier, Hog, Widow. Yeah, that's not bad. I think that's a.
We went over win conditions pretty thoroughly on the attack. Briefly, what do you think about this defense?
Yeah, Widow. I mean, this comp gives Widow a lot of free room. It's similar to like what they were running on defense. The enemy team was running on defense, right?
Mm-hmm.
As long as you're effective with your Hog Orisa pulls, then you can get a lot of work done with this, right? You can always be a threat.
So
if this team comp is pretty much all about sustaining the dive and then getting a pick, right?
Absolutely.
That's pretty much like the whole goal of this team comp. The only thing I would probably change is swap out Moira for Mercy so that they can damage boost either DPS, and the Moira isn't as effective, I think, in a counter dive scenario. Just because it's like, imagine diving as Winston and then the soldier gets damage boost and he's dinking you the entire time and you get shredded down to like 100 HP. I think Mercy Soldier is an insane combo because Mercy Soldier Zen is a gross backline. It's the best. It's one of the best backlines for a counter dive comp because you can just damage boost a soldier and be crazy effective, and then you can also just place down heal pad, and the entire backline can just combo or can just
and anything soldier soldier can shoot, Zenyatta can discard the same lines of sight. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. And Discord damage boosted soldier. It's like goodbye any target.
Oh yeah, tanks butter. Just being damage boosted with soldier and shooting discorded targets. There are a few feelings that are better. Yep. Okay, let's skip ahead. 12:30. Okay.
I see people in chat saying like Moira over Mercy, lol. Like a lot of people just prefer Moira. I mean, yeah, Moira is the new Mercy. She's insanely broken as far as overloaded kits go.
Yep.
There you go. See, that's effective. That's perfect right there.
Stinks. Good tracking.
Eat that. He was shooting air before that though. He hooked, and I think he like called that he pulled the diva instead of like concentrating on shooting because he was just shooting to the right of her. I see people say soldier swap to McCree. That's not bad. Their widows.
It makes them a little bit more diveable, but at the same time gives them a bit of utility against dive with the flashbang. But in terms of like the healing puddle, especially in a grouped up composition, can provide a lot of utility, especially in platinum.
Yeah, I think Soldier's just too strong. I mean, his mobility, his helix, like it's just. I think Soldier's damage output's way better. His utility's way better. I think Soldier's overall the better hero. McCree's really great if you're really good at McCree. It's like consider Pines McCree to like
the Soldier's higher value, higher damage, but of course is lacking the burst, which will allow people to kind of like take can't actually finish off kills. So you need to be disproportionately better in order to make McCree work. But assuming that both characters are played at their skill ceiling, McCree is probably better because of his ability to finish off kills with that burst damage as well as threaten with the flash. But in terms of like raw value, Soldier's better. Absolutely. Now, bongo usage. When and how would you use it in this sort of situation?
How you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Like I would literally pop it like right now. Like I use bongo pretty freely, just to be a problem, right? Like, oh man, this Orisa pop bongo, and now I can't or now they're doing crazy damage, right? I think bongo is like it's a very strong ult, but it's very like free form in how you use it, right?
Hmm. One of the one of the ways that I always recommend Orisa players use ultimates is pretty much as soon as the enemy has committed to the point where they can't easily retreat.
Disengage.
Yeah, so
that's a good
basically,
way
as
of
soon as
looking
they're pushing in, and as soon as they've, if they need to like turn around and back out while still in the line of fire, basically, as soon as they can no longer easily retreat, that bongo is on the ground. Eat shit, friends. There, you just
Yeah.
50% damage boost for your entire team. Good luck winning through that if you can't kill my bongo.
That's a really good way of looking at it. I never thought about it that way. I mean, the way I've always looked at
Teaching
it is
top
just
20
like
tanks every day, chat.
my Orisa play is sorely lacking. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, Orisa isn't exactly the hardest hero. You press right click and you hold left click at a choke, but and you occasionally press E. But I think it's more so an experience thing, right? With learning like bongo timings and whatnot, and just like good scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of a
And
Winston
it really
player.
shows in Overwatch League as well when you can see people who have mastered Reinhardt and Winston just basically filling on Orisa because the comp demands it.
Yeah.
Some of them make some really fucking weird mistakes. It's hilarious.
Yeah. There's some. I mean, Orisa is like an insanely boring hero to play.
Yeah.
Like I
I
do
don't
not
understand how Toaster plays so much Orisa.
I love Evil Toaster, but man, that guy's a psychopath for playing that much Orisa. Like, actually, I am not joking. I'm Evil Toaster's a good friend of mine, but that's some you know what they say about people who just do the same boring task over and over again. They're probably insane.
That's too funny. Okay, let's keep watching.
On it. Fuck. Alright, we're getting on point. We're on point.
This is just his team
Ah,
dropping.
I didn't have my shift. Thought I
Like
had
they're
my shift. Fuck.
not playing on the high ground for whatever reason and just getting picked. Like I don't know why his hog dropped. His Kree got picked by
pinned to
the
his
Junkrat
own
tire.
supercharger.
Yeah.
It sucks. If you can, like, a Reinhardt pin will stop on a supercharger, in the same way it'll also stop by turret. So Orisas have to be really careful that they don't get pinned to their own supercharger. It's kind of interesting. It's very rare to see an example of that, but it is something to be wary of, is getting pinned to superchargers. In the same way that if you're playing with Torbjorn, you don't want to get pinned to the turret. Oh, he's going to go for a cute charge here. Nice! I love it!
Ooh, close. Definitely should have tried to stick the pin and go for the go to that pillar.
I absolutely love that idea, though. Of just letting them come in and with the acute pin. I love it. Something that I try and do pretty frequently if I can't sustain the front line.
Keep on point.
Yeah, for sure. Little cheese pin. That's a big thing you want to do as Reinhardt. You don't want to take really deep pins.
Touch point. Touch point.
If you're pinning aggressively,
Fuck.
That's a good rule of thumb. You want to take the shortest possible pin every single time. So like, you have to do whatever it takes. Jump pin, jump, do a 180, and then pin the person or something. Anything better. Anything is better than pinning deep into somebody's team and mispositioning
It's
yourself.
absolutely so. It's pretty much BM to just fuck with the Reinhardt to the point where you like work your way behind him and then pin him back into your team. It's so funny when you pull it off.
I got shatter.
Yeah.
Keep on point. One point. Winnable. Alright, call targets. Can we call targets?
Hammer here, you just kind of hammer supports. That's pretty much it, right? Or as many people as you can.
Looks like he gets the whole team. Oh.
Then one.
You jinxed him! It's your fault, Shane.
Yeah. The classic, everybody just somehow disappears from your shatter right as you press the button.
And then everyone's like, lol Rein.
Yeah, this Rein.
Is there anything he should have been doing differently to, like, specifically major errors that he individually could have saved that point from being lost? Other than not whiffing his shatter?
Yeah, again, he probably should have just held right click and baited them into like trying to pressure him, right? Because like he needed to kill time there, right? He needed to make time for his team, and he tried to make a play by going for a shatter. He should have just stood himself right in the corner and pressed right click and held it until somebody tried to engage on him, and then just shatter. And then by then he probably would have had more reinforcement. He would have made a lot more time and baited a lot more cooldowns. Like a diva probably would have flown at him if he was just popped himself right up in the corner.
Cool.
Other than that,
what would be the one main thing you'd tell this individual in order to help him, rank up into Diamond or Masters? What's the one wisdom bomb that you could drop on this individual?
concentrate on your stats. You know, like look into your effectiveness. Like I said with Winston, you know, look at your DPS per 10 and your deaths per 10. If you can maintain, say, for like a diamond player, say 7 deaths per 10 and 6k
I can
damage.
do that just by hiding around a corner.
yeah, you can pull that. You can pull crazy stats with Winston, but it's and also a big thing that you want to do as Winston is making sure, or like any tank really, you want to be as effective as possible, or taking up as much room and being as much a problem. You know, like you don't want to be always doing something. You don't want to think, oh man, I'm not swinging, or I'm not pressuring the enemy team right now. You want to be thinking, okay, right now I am just being a problem in the back of my enemy team's like head right now.
Awesome.
You know?
Yep. You want you to check your stats? Yeah, if you don't mind, main event, I'd appreciate it. Check your damage per 10 as well as your deaths. And after this, I am going to sign off. I'm feeling the fatigue creep in. I haven't slept enough recently, so we're going to end the stream after this. We'll just get main event to check his stats first. Just got to check one other thing first. Oh, people wanted to know what your rank was in League of Legends before you transferred.
I was a Diamond 1 ADC player.
I have no idea what that means, but it sounds impressive.
It was I peaked at Diamond 1, and then Overwatch came out, and then I was like, okay, I'm out of here.
Oh, is Elk live? If Elk's live, I'm definitely hosting him. 5.7k damage, 7.5 deaths per 10. Well, your theory's holding up, Shane. Oh,
Yeah, that's not bad for that rank and that like skill level, but you definitely want to work on lowering your deaths and raising those. You want to you want to improve those stats for sure.
Well, thanks for joining me. I'm going to end the stream here, but I really appreciate you stopping by and hopping in for a main tank review. Any kind of like final thoughts before I sign off here?
No, nothing comes to mind. Yeah, appreciate you having me. I'd love to do this again sometime if you want.
Yeah,
I'm always,
absolutely. If you're not already on the Discord, jump on. I'll give you the friends next door role, which will let everybody know when you do stream, if you ever decide to stream. But yeah, definitely do that, and we'll look to do this again. It'd be awesome to have kind of like a main tank specialist that people could ask questions or whatnot. Cool. Thanks, chat. I'm gonna pass the host over to Jake, who's streaming. So I'm gonna host Jake first, and then after that, I'll probably 5 or 10 minutes after that just pass the host off to Elk, who he has 0 viewers right now. So I'm gonna give him a little bit of time to